Hello everyone and welcome to another real estate video. This is Javier Vidana, the real estate YouTube guy here at Phoenix, Arizona, helping you accomplish your home goals with a itch in his nose. Hopefully that wasn't a booger. Anyways, today's video is going to be a little more detail oriented, informative. It's something that I go with every single buyer that comes into my office that does the initial appointment, consultation, whatever. I always take them down this process of what it means to actually qualify for a house, or what determines what qualifies you for the house, what amount, all that good stuff. And I always go through it, even though it's a little more details and more information that they really need. I like going through it because I want people to understand what's going behind it. Why are you only qualifying for this amount? What is preventing you from moving forward to this type of loan when someone else got this type of loan? So if you've had some issues qualifying for a home in the past, or you're just curious why you qualified for the type of loan you did and why not you qualify for more pre-qualification amount or whatever, this is a good video for you to learn from. So for those who are watching and this is your first video, welcome to the channel. We make weekly real estate content. And once again, thank you to our sponsor Abode. If you're looking for an alarm system that's modern, contract free, you can check it on your phone, works with all your smart home devices, please go to javiervidana.com/abode. You can learn a little more about my personal story, and stay tuned because I'm actually going to be making a review of my experience with Abode and my home, so that's going to come out soon. But anyways, let's get to it. So what determines if you can qualify for a home? Well, the easiest way that I've described it to people is there's three main categories that are established that you have to, basically the first two categories are just check boxes that have to have check marked. They don't have any determination on what your pre-qualification amount is or any of that stuff, but it has to be something that has to get approved. And there's not a way to skip past something, or it's saying, oh well, this isn't great but this is really great. It has to be checkbox. So the first two categories have to just be approved, doesn't really affect anything else. And the final category is what's actually determining what your pre-qualification amount is. So I'm going to walk you through each step, and if every single step works in your favor, then you're probably ready to buy a home. So section number one is going to be your credit score. If you're going with an FHA loan, which is your standard first-time home buyer loan, the minimum credit score can be 600. Now there's people out there, mortgage people out there, that are a lot more flexible with the guidelines to say, hey, you can go as low as 580, you can go as low as 560, but just know that there's consequences to that. If they can go lower than that, then they're probably making it up somehow. They're probably doing something with the interest rate or who knows what. I just know in general 600 is the minimum credit score for a regular FHA loan. For conventional, your minimum credit score is about 640. However, the two main differences between FHA and conventional, plug, if you haven't seen this video, I break it down in a lot more detailed, is FHA has the pro and con of it not being so judgmental towards your credit score, and conventional is very judgmental towards your credit score. FHA, it doesn't matter if you're at 601 credit score or you're at 800 credit score, you're getting the same substandard mortgage insurance and same lower interest rate than everybody else with FHA is getting. With conventional, you could be at 640, barely qualifying, and they're not going to treat you well. They're going to give you high credit, they're going to give you really high mortgage insurance, they're more judgmental on past mistakes you might have in your credit. But if you're at an 800 credit score or high 700s, they're going to treat you like royalty. You're going to get a better interest rate, you're going to get better mortgage insurance, all that fun stuff. On top of that, mortgage insurance, FHA, you'll have it for the rest of your life for the 30-year loan. Conventional, once you reach 80/20 loan to value, it'll drop off. If you want a more specific detailed video about that, there it is right there. But anyways, those are the two main ones, and those are the credit scores needed for it. So for conventional, technically if you're at a 640, you could go conventional, but odds are they're probably going to be better off putting you in FHA because the interest rate and the mortgage insurance is going to be much better. Although some people I've known them to still go conventional because this is a forever house and they eventually want to pay off to the point where the mortgage insurance is gone. However, if you're in the 600s, odds are they're going to be putting you at FHA. Now, this doesn't include down payment assistance because, in my opinion, guys, nowadays down payment assistance is not very much used anymore. It's still being used, sure, but a lot of buyers are just opting for their down payment. However, if you are interested in down payment assistance, I've known the credit scores minimum to be about 660 around there. There are programs out there that you need to be at least at 640, but 660 is probably going to give you the best bang for your buck. That being said, those are the credit scores needed, and as long as you meet those minimum credit scores, you are able to go forward through that specific loan. Just keep in mind, if you're conventional and you're barely qualifying, they're probably going to recommend you go through FHA just because it'll just save you so much money in the monthly payment route. If that checkbox is checkmarked, great. Now we go to the next one, which is a 2-year work history. So the preferred option, the ideal like series A, is that you've been in your job, the same exact job, maybe different position, but same-ish position for the last 2 years. That's the best case scenario. If you're not at that route, well, they at least want you to be in the same field, the same kind of job. So if you're a different company, but same type of job, well then as long as you have 2 years of that, then that's fine. Now, if you completely switch career paths, this is where it can get a little tricky. So if you have 2 years total work history or even more, however, somewhere in between you switch to a different career path, well, I believe they need at least minimum 6 months of pay stubs in the new career path. And as long as both jobs add about 2 years, you should be fine. And last but not least, if you went to school for the job you're currently in, so let's just say you were at school for 1 or 2 years, you graduated, and now you only have 1 year at your new job, well, they can use that schooling as part of your 2-year work history in some situations. So there are some workarounds, but they're logical workarounds. If you the common example I like using is if you were a plumber for a year and then you decided to go be a stripper, although somebody in the comments once said, well, they're technically the same job because they both show crack. As long as you have 6 months as a new job and you have 2 years total work history, odds are a lender can be creative and figure it out. Now, if you are under the 2-year work history mark and you don't qualify for any of these exceptions that I listed, well, I'm afraid to say you're gonna need a 2-year work history. There are some exemptions and some things that might work, and if it, once again, has to be logical. If it's just like you literally just got a job a year ago, there's, if you didn't go to school beforehand, and there's no other logical conclusions of why you didn't work that way, well then, maybe you have to figure something out there. So if you got checkbox A marked, your credit score is above the score you needed, checkbox 2 marked, which is, hey, you have the 2-year work history or you have some kind of workaround, well then you're good. You got those 2 cleared. Now we go to the main one, which is your debt to income ratio. So pull out your pens and papers for this section because I'm gonna kind of speak and I want you to kind of go through it and work the worksheet with me. So your debt to income ratio is essentially your debt divided by your gross income. Gross meaning the money you get paid before taxes, before health insurance, before everything's taken out. Yes, it is kind of broken because technically your gross income isn't what you take home. However, this is what lenders use. Now, if you're self-employed, 1099, then they use your net income. So they use the money that you actually claim on your taxes or an average of the last 2 years. There are some exceptions where they can add certain things back into your net income. Like for example, when I bought homes, they were able to add certain things that I deducted back in there. So your debt equals your minimum monthly payments plus the potential payment of your house. Your minimum monthly payments are what pops up on your credit report. We're not talking utilities, we're not talking phone bills, we're not talking cell phone bills, we're not talking any of that. It's what pops up on your credit score. So credit cards, lines of credit, car payments, things you've co-signed for, which is why I always say be careful when you co-sign. Stuff like that will pop up. So let's do a very basic example. Let's say you have 2 credit cards, and once again, they use the minimum monthly payment. It doesn't matter if it's $1 billion balance. If the minimum monthly payment's only $40, that's the number you're using. So let's say you have 2 credit cards at a $500,000 balance. I know, let's say you're a baller, and the minimum payment is $50 each. Well, $50 plus $50 equals $100. That's your total for your credit cards. And now let's say you have a car payment as well, and your car payment is about $300 every month. So that's gonna be already the $100 of the credit card payments plus the $300, that's $400 total. So now let's just say that's all your total minimum monthly payments. And if you're following me at home, make sure to write down everything here. And I would be conservative. If it's like $32 minimum monthly payments, put 40 or put 35, try to be conservative. Now that you've calculated that, you want to add that with your potential payment of the house you're buying. So in this case, I don't know what the taxes or insurance are in your area, so try to, if you're looking online, you're looking for houses already, you have an idea, try to use the calculator they have online and make sure that calculator includes your principal, your interest, your taxes, your insurance, and your mortgage insurance. If you have your taxes are about $1,500 to $2,000 a year and you're looking in a $200,000 range, and let's just estimate your payment to be on I don't know, $1,400. So let's just use that number. So by now you probably already want to go look online mind and you have an idea of your price range and your monthly payment-ish around there. So what you're gonna do, so let's just use my example. It was $400 of total minimum monthly payment obligations. We're gonna add that with the potential payment of the house at $1,400. Once again, being conservative here helps because you have a good idea. That equals $1,800. So my total debt is gonna be $1,800. Now, if we divide that by your gross income, so if you have a spouse here or you have a co-borrower that's gonna buy the house with you, they can use both gross incomes. But if you do that, make sure that you're also adding his debts on top of there. So that's why sometimes it doesn't help to have more borrows, because although they have more income, they might have more debts than you do. In this example, let's just say this person makes $5,000 gross income. Once again, they could only be taking home $38,000 or $4,000. It's all about that gross income. So let's say they make $5,000 a month. So it's $1,800 divided by $5,000. And according to my calculations, that equals 0.36 or 36%. So in this situation, they do fall under 50% and they do qualify. So not only that, but there's some space to play around with the numbers. So technically, I think I have to look it up. FHA might be 45%. I always say under 45% is probably where you need to be. And also on top of that, you want to be careful, right? You don't want to have half of your income go towards a house. So not only that, but there's some numbers to play around there, right? Let's say you add the monthly payment, instead of being $1,400, we add it to $1,800, and then we add the $400 of minimal debts, and then you divide that by 5,000. Well, technically, you're still at 44% debt to income. So that means you would be able to qualify for a monthly payment of $1,800 technically. Now, just because you're able to doesn't mean you always should. So just be very careful here. So in this case, you would qualify for a payment of $1,800. So one way to find out this a little more certain is you can work backwards. So let's just say we're trying to be under 50% debt to income ratio. If your gross income is, let's say, $4,000, well, regardless of what's on the top debt section, you know for sure it needs to be under $2,000, because what's half of 4,000? It's 2,000. So if you know that top number needs to be 2,000, well, then you can work back. So if your minimal monthly obligations are, I don't know, let's say $1,000, because you have a lot of student debt or you have a credit cards, you have other fun stuff like that. I'm sorry guys, my freaking watch is going off right now. Let me put it on mute. Then that means you only qualify for a payment of $1,000. And nowadays, $1,000 payments are very far and few in between. So then you can start working back there. And this is why I always say that maybe paying off a credit card might not be the best option to help you. Because if you have a credit card of $1,000 and it's a $40 minimum monthly payment, well, if you spend those $1,000 towards that, all you really did is take $40 off that equation, and it's not really helpful. This is just so you can get an idea. Obviously, once you talk to the lender, they're going to calculate this. This is kind of preemptive just to kind of help you get an idea. So if the numbers you're getting aren't under 50%, then there's three things that need to happen very clearly. One is your income needs to be higher. So that means either have to go get another job or get a promotion. For a lot of people, it's not as easy to just go make more money. The second thing is your minimum monthly debts need to go down. And this is where you need to talk to the lender and see if they can give you an action plan on what to pay off or what to prioritize. Or the third thing is your monthly payment needs to go down. So maybe you're in a situation where your minimum payments are okay, but your income isn't so great. Well, that means that your monthly payment needs to go down. So if the equation, try working with the numbers until you find out something that's under that 50% or preferably closer to 40%. And that's what really determines what amount you qualify for a home for. So once you figure that out and it works still, then you're essentially mark off that third category. And if all three categories are green, then you're ready to go. Of course, there's several other factors to consider, like affordability, should you buy a house, are you ready financially, how much is in your savings, etc., etc. However, we're just speaking specifically logistically about if you're able to buy a home. So if you check off these three categories, odds are you're definitely ready to buy a home. So now is the time to have a conversation if you should buy a home. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time. Once again, thanks to Abode. If you're interested in a home security system, platform that's contract free. Check it out, javiervidana.com/abode. And if you're looking for a realtor in the Phoenix, Arizona area, give me a shout. My information can be found below. You can DM me on Instagram, you can text or call me anytime, or email me. If you're not in Arizona, you can watch a video I have in my description where I give you some instructions on what to do. I've had already a few people that actually follow the instructions. They make an appointment with me. I have a video conference with them. I get to know them. I refer them to an agent, and they're in good hands now. So if you just email me or DM me, hey bro, I'm looking for an agent and here, can you help me? I'm trying to be really respectful with my referrals, give you quality. And if you want quality from me, then I expect you to at least follow the process. That way I can dedicate time for you. So I'm not just going to drop what I'm doing at the time to just find you a realtor right away, right? So I appreciate for you guys that are taking the time to do things through that I prefer them. But I understand some people don't watch all my videos. They may be watching the older videos where I just say, hey, just message me, I'm available. So no problems there. If you happen to watch this one though, I would appreciate it if you through the process. So everyone else, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful and lovely day.